I was simply unhappy in that job and decided it can't continue like this. So I decided to quit. My name is Mette Johansson. I was born in Denmark. However, I only lived in Denmark for 10 years. I lived in 10 other countries. So whenever I go back to Denmark, I realize how little Danish I am. I have lived in Singapore for 8.5 years now. It's been 2 different periods of time. So first time was 3 years, and now for the past 5.5 years. Singapore to me is a place where there's loads of different opportunities. My husband and I, well, the whole family was living in Germany before Singapore, and it had been 6 years. Prior to that, we'd moved countries every 3 years, and it felt like we needed a change. So Singapore has always been a place with loads of opportunities for me. This is a place because everybody speaks English. It's very easy to reach things. It's a big city, and at the same time, you can very easily get out of it. It's really a country of opportunities to me. And that's why my husband and I, we targeted our search in Singapore to look for opportunities here. It was a bit of a coincidence, actually. I came upon this life by chance, so to say. It started off with a midlife crisis. I was very frustrated in my corporate job. I found myself in a job that was not very suitable to me. And I was simply unhappy in that job and decided it can't continue like this. So I decided to quit. I didn't have much of a plan B. However, I knew that I wasn't just going to sit at the pool and read books. So what I did was I tried out different things, and I very quickly learned that the training industry, learning and development, is something that I have a very large passion about. I took up some different jobs, and the training opportunities I had, they were the ones that just energized me, and I wanted to do more of that. So that's why I decided to set up my own company in this area. What difficulties? Now, when you run your own business will always go up and down. For instance, in my business, there is not much going on between, say, beginning of December until after the Chinese New Year. So you need to find ways of how are you going to fill up your time during those periods and also make enough money the rest of the year so those drier periods can also be survived very nicely. It is so easy. If there's a place anywhere in the world where it's easy to set up business, it's Singapore. And I actually sometimes get a bit frustrated about people who say how difficult it is to do business here. I hear both from Singaporeans who say, well, in Singapore, it's not easy to do business because there's already so many businesses. And then I hear foreigners saying, well, it's so difficult to get the permissions that you need. I have not experienced any of that. I see Singapore as a place with loads of opportunities. It's a place where there's a lot of people on a very concentrated piece of land. People have money, there are multinational companies, and there's very little red tape. So it's easy to do business here. Of course, there are lots of things that are not working and you have to change track. That happens all the time, wherever you are. Now, culture clashes as such, I had lived in 10 other countries before coming to Singapore, so I was probably over that really culture shock stage that a lot of people go through. I had some of these epiphanies about how people just think different in different countries way before I came to Singapore. So it's more about just being open and being aware that things are different, that we all have our different ways of going about things, and that doesn't even have to be in a different culture. It can also be between your husband and yourself, right? You sometimes have different ways of looking at things. Now, I do have a healthy dose of tenacity, I'm told by some of my friends. However, that only works when it's things that are important to me. And that's also one of the things that I do a lot of work on with corporate clients and individual clients. That is to find what is it that really drives you and energizes you. So when you find what drives you, what gives you energy, your inner values, if you live your life designed around these, that will make it possible to do extraordinary things. Now, all of the activities I do, they have one thing in common, and that is that they're based on my values. And one of the core values I have is about helping others to be and do the best they can. So a lot of it is around how can I help other people to succeed in their lives. So whether you take it from an investor perspective, that is about if you have the financial means to do what you really want to do, it makes life easier. And so the financial security part of it is to me very important in all this. And if I can help people to have a financial basis that's very secure, it will help them to focus on what they really want to do in life and also to be and do the best they can. And with Keynote, the Asia's speaking directory for women, that is again, we're going to groom speakers to bring diversity on stages all around Asia. With this, I am supporting women to be and do the best they can in the area of speaking. So that is something that I find totally fascinating. I'm very honored to be asked by Primetime to lead this initiative. It is amazing the energy that we also have in the whole team, because people all believe in this initiative of bringing more women to speak on stages around the world. And of course, again, with my own training consultancy, that is spot on. It's about helping people to be and do the best they can. It's about helping other people to grow professionally as well as in their personal lives. Now, that is the difference between doing things that are coherent with your inner values, because when you do that, it energizes you. When you do things that are not in sync with who you really are, that's when it drains you. And when I was working corporate life, I know the feeling of you get home in the evening and you're just completely drained. What I do now, I can deliver a workshop the whole day and I can still go out and network in the evening and be very chatty and very extrovert and make new connections and have fun and work on Keynote, because all these things energize me. I actually sleep an hour less every single day now than I used to when I was in corporate life. That just shows how big a difference it is whether you follow your core values, your inner values, or whether you do things that are slightly out of sync with what's truly important to you. Depends. It really depends, because starting your own business, you need to be good at so many different things. There's nobody there to back you up. There's nobody behind whom you can hide. You really have to take care of everything yourself, or at least get people to take care of it. So it's not for everyone. You also need to have a certain risk appetite and a certain tenacity. So in general, I can recommend people to follow their values, their passions. However, maybe you can also find something that is in sync with your own values and your own passions in your corporate job, or perhaps change into a different sector, a different industry, different position that will be a lot more in sync with your own values.